Hi, this is just in response to a couple of questions about what you need to do if you want a family constellation. Whether it's long distance or whether it's here in Johannesburg, I normally prefer to see people ahead of time to look at where you're at and where you're wanting to get to. What is your goal or your outcome, the miracle outcome, they call it in family constellations. Do some assessment work, look at the family tree, identify issues, relationships that need work, all of that. And that's normally a 90-minute session that I do, and it's about 1,400 Rand for that first session. And then if there are further issues that need to be ironed out, then it's 800 Rand an hour after that. Depending on the amount of work that you need to do, I do either one initial session and that's enough to prepare for a constellation, or we need a couple of sessions to get you ready. And sometimes the work that we do online, if you're not here in South Africa, then I do it with you on Zoom. And we'd have a session like this, and you would tell me what is going on for you. And I would do that with each person that wants to do the work. I'd take stock of everything that is in your past, look for the areas that might not be flowing, look at propensities, look at patterns, look at areas intuitively that seem to be popping up that need to be worked on with you. And then after the first or second session, depending on how many we need to get you ready, then we can plan. If it feels right and you don't feel resolved at that point, then we can plan a group constellation. Now, the next group constellation, I do them monthly. So there's one this July, this next Saturday, the 15th of July, and there's one in August. I think it's just have to look up the date, the 19th or something of August, but I'll get that back to you. So if you need a constellation long distance, then what happens is we start with these initial sessions like this on Zoom, talking to each other and planning. And then we set up a group here. So I invite what is called representatives, which is a group of people that are like proxies for your family stories. And I would choose different people to represent the players that we have chosen to look into and the family members. And then we let them tap into the field. So this methodology works on the idea that there's this morphogenetic field. You can look into Rupert Sheldrake's work if you want to about what is a morphogenetic field. So he discovered that it's close to what Rodrigo was talking about with the Kesh technology, that things exist in coded fields of information at a level of energy. So different levels, different frequencies correspond to different levels of consciousness. And you're able to tap in to the family field through people that are being kind of like chess pieces. We call them representatives for the different members of the family. They are actually able to tap into this family field or this family memory and download that information. And what's great about having somebody else become the proxy for your family member is that there's no editing. So a lot of information would come up that might have previously been hidden or suppressed. So you don't have to believe the information that comes up. You can just take it. We will, as a group, feed it back to you. If there's a way to record the constellation, I can do that as well so that you can watch it and listen to it. And And then it should begin to, first of all, the awareness as things pop up that you weren't aware of that were going on, coming through the representatives and through the field. As the awareness comes through, we begin to, you're all connected, okay? So you would sit with we would create an intention about where you want to be, where you want to be moving to with your family systems or your health or whatever the particular issue is. So that's what's organized beforehand. And then you would be non-locally connected through the quantum field to the constellation that's going on. And we would work with the system moving from a dysfunctional, stuck, or toxic system towards health. And if you're not physically there, then you get to go through it on a subconscious level. You would also, on top of it, get feedback from me in a session like this, and we would record as much of it as we can. So that's how it works. I've done sessions with people who have just had amazing changes and results. So if you're here in Johannesburg and you want to have a session with me, then we see each other at my practice, which is in Bryanston, or alternatively, I can meet you in Houghton area. And same thing, just an assessment. Where are you at? Where do you want to be? How are we going to get you there? What's coming up in terms of patterns? What's presenting itself that needs to be worked on? What's the mirror in your life for you? And how can we begin to move you in the system towards health? So a couple of meetings and then the constellation. If you're on medical aid, just depending on which one, you can probably claim the sessions back. Discovery is very good with that. Normally it's about 800 Rand an hour for the time with me in private practice, and the constellations are 1,600 Rand or $120 to set up a long distance constellation in a workshop. So people gather here in a space on your behalf. We work the field and family for at least an hour, record, give you feedback, and see energetically what we can do to recode your morphogenetic field so that you've got a new memory pattern happening in your family. So if anyone's got questions or you want to sign up for a constellation, you're welcome. If you overseas or in another country, in South Africa, in Africa, you're welcome to pay via PayPal, and we'll set up some sessions with you. So I'm just trying to think if there's any other questions that I haven't answered. You can refer to my website, amandagifford.co.za, and I can work with, if it's everybody in the family that's wanting a session, we can work on a package deal, but then I work with each person individually. So I work with you, then I work with your partner, then if it's your child, then I work with them. And we strategize. We strategize to see how we can get your fields to align. But I need to do sessions individually at first just to see what's going on. So it's a consulting process, and even when we have started that, already the fields begin to move. Yeah, so some of the theory can be found under Bert Hellinger. If you want to look up family constellations, Bert Hellinger, he was one of the founders. He was the founder of Family Constellations. He actually came to South Africa from Germany I think it was in the 50s, to study with the Zulus and he came over to bring religion here. I think he was a priest, Catholic priest, and he ended up being completely converted. So it was like a turnaround. And he studied the work that the Zulus are doing with African traditional wisdom through the work with the ancestors. And he developed a whole system about how to heal the past, how to heal the wounds now that you're carrying, or the stories that you're carrying now, by addressing the wounds of the past. Now everybody has a different style. So I work sometimes with the past, sometimes with the future. Systemically, there's lots of different things that I do. I have a master's in psychology. I'm registered with the Health Professions Council. I'm a family constellations facilitator and trainer. I'm a therapist. I'm a drama therapist. I've learned and taught many things over the last 15 years. I've been an active private practice, and yeah, I look forward to working with you. So let me know if you want to set up a session.